Welcome into another episode of the Terptalk podcast. The Terps get hammered on homecoming by Indiana 55-10. Jordan and I break it down what it means for the Terps going forward. Let's get to it. This podcast is brought to you by VinerX. Your business deserves technology that works as hard as you do. VinerX brings your business enterprise technology that is human first. VinerX aligns technology with your goals, giving you productivity, reliability, and the freedom to scale. From managed IT and communications to business intelligence and cybersecurity, VinerX brings the tools that let you thrive. With VinerX, IT isn't a cost center, it's an investment in your future. Learn more at VinerX.com. Well, Jordan, it happened again. The Terps blown out by Indiana 55-10 at CQ Stadium yesterday. The score says it all.
I mean, who knew? You turn the ball over 5 times, you lose the game. Groundbreaking science we're conducting here on the Terptalk podcast, Mason. I can't say I'm surprised. I really can't say I am. I know a lot of people are having issues with this game, and I don't think that's fair when you lose by 45 points. However, I will continue to stand on Indiana has won 4 of their 7 games by more than 45 points.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of that comes from just being beat in every phase of the game. And really specifically, at times, it just felt like there were opportunities for the score to be a lot better, for the game to be more competitive. And we just found ways to not convert on those. I mean, the game started exactly the way you need a game like this to start, with the Glasner interception. Can't punch it in. Yet again, you get the ball in scoring position and you cannot convert it for 6 points. Malik, he had 2 decent drives that he found ways to turn the ball over, and Caleb Webb's open there for a touchdown. Multiple other players were open on both of those interception plays, and it just felt like in the mental parts of the game, Indiana was the far more superior team. And I think that is, compounded with the anger over this coaching staff and the movement now that's really materialized to fire Mike Locksley. It just is. It's yet again, I don't feel and really see talent gaps in these games to the level of losing by 45 points. Yes, that's one of the best teams in the country. Yes, they beat everybody like that. I know that is true. They're a fantastic football team. But the way that we sell ourselves short by our lack of mental preparation to be in a game and to win games is just, it's been the consistent in the 7 years.
Yeah, and that is a fair point. And I think that is a more nuanced and a well-explained take than a lot of stuff that's being put on message boards and being discussed in Maryland fan communities. Because it's more complicated than, as I just put, Indiana is really good, which is true, and that is the reality. And I said it yesterday, Mason, and I'll say it now. I do think Indiana's the best team in the country. I thought that before this game, and I thought that after this game. All that said, which, by the way, I know we've been here for a little bit now, but Indiana being this good is just the most surreal thing to come out of the NIL portal era. So shout out to them. Shout out to their very, very long-suffering fans. They have earned this like few have. And it's good to see them happy. Indiana fans out there in College Park yesterday weren't too difficult to deal with, especially considering how badly we got just hammered. We've dealt with a lot worse, Mason. I think we can both attest to that in Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, all these fan bases. Quick aside, I didn't expect when we moved into this conference 10 years ago that these teams that have been good for so long would be just so obnoxious about it. Like, what the heck is wrong with you guys? But neither here nor there. Yeah, it's difficult to be positive after that game, just considering how they fumbled opportunities, literally and figuratively fumbled opportunities.
Yeah.
And I said it. I was up there with Connie, for those who watch all the Terptalk stuff, in the stands, and I said immediately when we didn't score that first drive from the 12-yard line, we didn't get the 6 points. I said, "Oh crap, this is not going to be good." Like, when you're playing up, you have to convert those opportunities when they come. And we just did not. The whole offense, Mason, just never found a single ounce of footing this entire game.
No, it didn't. And we were able to move the ball, in the parts of the field where generally it's easier to, but when Indiana needed to stop, obviously their scheme, they forced 2 turnovers on the plus side of the 50-yard line in the first half. They get to stop when they have 12, when their backs are up against the wall early in the game. And that those are the winning plays that teams that are great make. And they're continuing to prove a lot of people wrong, including myself, and show week in, week out that they are a great team. It's the rushing stats of this game are comical. The blocking scheme that Indiana runs is extremely well executed. I don't believe that they have their talented roster, but these guys are not. They're not Ohio State. They're not Michigan. They're not Georgia. They went out and found this talent and developed it inside their program, and have found a way to be, again, excellent in basically every facet of the game. Everything they do is with intention. It's with detail. It's correct on run fits. I mean, we could not run the ball at all in this game, and they've reached that level of execution that it's just hard to beat unless you play a perfect game. And you have the right game plan, you have the right players in the right places. And I just think that just shows the things that we don't do on a very, extreme level. And I don't care for, and I've never cared for, if you've watched our shows for a long time, these games where we lose our head and find ways to make a score that, yeah, maybe we should lose by 20, 18. Look around the country. There aren't many games. I mean, Indiana's been on the right side of a lot of them that have been this level of blowout. And our inability to execute allowed a team that was just trying to basically run the clock out with their backup quarterback in from the first play of the fourth quarter on to continuously dominate the game. And it's hard to take. It's hard to watch. We had thought that we moved past this. Taylor Lyons had a great piece about that and the whole coaching situation this past week. And, well, we didn't. I talked about the opportunity during the week in the post-game show, and you have to elevate yourself and a lot of the things you're doing to meet the opportunities, like the one that we had on Saturday. And we just clearly didn't do that. We clearly were not mentally ready to do that.
Well put, Mason. Just a self-correction real quick. Indiana has now scored more than 50 points in 5 of their games, and they played 9, not 7. Yeah, Mason, I think before we dive into anything else, let's talk about Malik Washington, who we are Malik Washington fans in this podcast, but it is clear he has regressed the last 2 games. His footwork is an absolute mess.
Yeah, it looks like he's just not playing with confidence at this point. He's not stepping into his throws. His feet are not good. You can clearly tell the difference. He's a great quarterback when he's on platform and he's on driving the ball. And, well, frankly, he sometimes makes the correct reads but can't get enough on the ball when he's not doing that. I think scheme and a lot of coaching is about getting players to make the easy play. Sometimes, you don't design things to make it hard. And Malik's not taking what the defense is giving him right now. And look, we have an opportunity in 6 days to play against a team that's equal, if not worse than us, that's had similar results and is in a similar space. And we need to take advantage of that and find a way to get some confidence back built up going into the next couple games and trying to squander a 500 season out of something we really botched. Still, I believe that we've botched this season, regardless of yesterday's results. And yeah, you got to turn the tape on and say, like, you're just not making the right plays. You're not giving yourself a chance to be as good as you can be, to put your receivers in the right place to make plays for you, and to take advantage of open receivers when you get them. And that's it. As far as dropping the ball in the run game and having it swatted, I don't have much else to say there. That just can't happen.
Oh, you said it a long time ago, Mason. Malik is not running quarterback, and I think we've learned that in a whole different way in the last couple weeks. I I mean, I don't know how much there is to really say here. Like, we fell behind early. We made some critical early mistakes on those interceptions and then the fumble on the read option, and we just did not recover. And Minya just thralled us in the third quarter. Mason, in the spirit of this shorter episode, I think let's go around the Big Ten to make sure we get that done. Give me 1 second here. Only five other games this weekend, and none of them are particularly interesting. Ohio State puts the hammer down on Penn State in the second half to win that one 38-14 in the horseshoe.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this league might not be top to bottom what it's been in years past, but I think you can comfortably say two of the better teams in the country are in it. And Ohio State defense is excellent. Jeremiah Smith's excellent. Penn State they're just not good.
That's a good way to put it. They are not good. It appears their season will be over, and we will see if they make a bowl game at this point. They sit at 3-5. Actually, one of the few interesting results, Mason, Michigan squeaks by Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue, they found a little something that's going to keep them in games, but unfortunately they've lost the last two close games to Rutgers and in the Big House last night. Michigan and frankly in Maryland have a fair amount of parallels in terms of just young quarterback not showing greatly every week. Clearly the talent's there with both of these guys, but the execution is not. And when you play Michigan, and I said it in the post game last night, it's like I've said it constantly throughout the season. This was really that game where I circled it as like it's a great opportunity, but we have an outside shot if that. When Michigan comes to College Park, I will not be saying the same thing if we can right the ship at all in the next 2 weeks. Just given that there's a book out on how you can keep the game close against them, and you just have to find a way to make a couple plays on offense. And I know we struggle to do that, but you can't line up and run the ball 100 times in a game when you have the team that Michigan has. I know they've been able to live a long time going 10-2 like that. This year, it just doesn't really seem to be the case.
USC beats Nebraska 21-17 in what was a very entertaining game that I did not watch. I don't think a lot of other people did with World Series up against it, but USC is hanging on to the playoff hopes, Mason, even by a thread.
Yes, they are. And Jordan Dylan Raiola, 93 passing yards and an interception. I got a lot of hate for those comments. I'm not forgetting them.
USC is an interesting run down the stretch here, Mason, with Northwestern next week, Iowa, and then what is probably one of the games of the year in this conference against Oregon to wrap it up before playing UCLA. In a game I thought was going to be closer, Illinois just runs over Rutgers 35-13, Mason. With that win, the Illini are both eligible, and Rutgers is on the ropes for the season.
Yeah, I'm going to focus on Rutgers. I haven't got a chance to go back and watch this game. I recorded it on my basically sportsless YouTube TV at this point. And thanks a lot for that, ESPN. Can't believe they're framing themselves as the good guy in this debacle, but that's for a whole different version of this. Yeah, Rutgers, I'll put it this way. We got to win next week. If we don't win next week, and I'm a guy that said that the coaching change is probably not our best decision this offseason. Not saying that it shouldn't be done, but just given the volume of good openings out there, I'm going to avoid that conversation. I don't believe that it's in our best interest to do that, but I would not be displeased if the coaching change was made at this point. I'm 50-50 on it. If not, like, sure, fire the guy, don't fire the guy. The results, I guess we've reached maybe the ceiling of this, and they may be better if we go a different direction. I can't tell you what's going to happen next. People, I'm just going to go on this rant now, Jordan. But people say, like, the Indiana example, and I've said that too. How many coaches are there in the history of Indiana football before they found the one guy? Like, I don't know exactly, and I would like for somebody to inform me that has a full sense of what the athletics budget looks like when you don't have donors willing to pay buyouts. Are you on the side of, like, every coach you hire gets 3 years, and if we don't succeed, or our definition of success in the 3 years, we fire that guy and move on to the next one? Like, what is the right mix when it comes to these things? You know, and I feel like that's the decision of, like, the athletic director and of the people that you know, financially support these teams and these programs. But I find that like piece of it to be strange. Like I'll be honest, the results that DJ Durkin had when we're losing like 70-7 to teams, like they probably should have fired him. We didn't until obviously a very fireable reason came about. But like what are we looking for? What is in like the RFP for the Maryland football coach at this point? Like what is like what's the proposal? Like what are we looking for? Is it like, okay, great, we just don't want more of this, move on? Like that's completely reasonable at this point. Is it we
I
want to
mean,
be Indiana? We're gonna fire and hire coaches until we find a guy that's gonna make us a top 5 team? Like I'm in for that too. But who's paying it? Like who's writing the checks? What are we what is the goal?
that was one of the more wide-ranging rants I think Mason's had. To answer your question, Mason, Kirkson is the 30th coach in EF football history, and Mike Loxley is the 37th in Maryland football history. Let's just wrap it up real quick. Michigan State falls to Minnesota 23-20. Minnesota's bowl eligible in a bit of a wonky game. Mason, I don't know if you saw, speaking of coaches, PJ Fleck's his own rant after the game wrapped up. Do you see it?
I did not.
Um, I don't know the context. I didn't see the whole video, but the part I did see was he went up to the podium and was up there taking questions, and he said something online. So people give him all this crap for saying the row the boat thing. Apparently, this was the 100th win in the row the boat mantra, and Minnesota has not been bowl eligible in 7 straight seasons. You got to give him some credit on that one.
I do. I constantly do. I'm not a fan, but the guy knows how to coach a team. He's found something that is successful in that environment. They had the 1 year where they probably could have made the playoff, but they fell a game short. And he wins there. They're perfectly pleased with where they're at, seemingly.
And to that point, Mason, I think you talk about what's the RFP, and what you want to strive for as a program here at Maryland. I'd say Minnesota is still the model to follow. I've said that for a while with Minnesota, that they know who they are. They've been in the Big Ten for 100 years. They're never going to be Ohio State. They're going to be Michigan. But they have a nice 50,000 seat stadium. They sell a lot of tickets. They win their 6 to 8 games a year. They have a better one every now and then, and they're perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, and they don't get blown out. They really don't. They rarely do they get blown out at home.
This is true.
Look, Jonathan Smith, Michigan State's a disaster.
Yeah,
I mean, talk about a hire that you didn't think would kind of go sideways and be where it's at, and look at where they are right now. I mean, I don't think you could have had a better hire than the one than Jonathan Smith, but things are bad. They're going to be quarterback searching this offseason. I'm interested to see what happens there next.
They're another program that probably won't move on from their coach because they know that they can't get a good candidate. So let's I don't have anything else to add to this game. We lost in all phases. It was bad. I have no positives to take away. Our run game, as Steve Suter and Lott Jordan said on the postgame show, it's just not going to happen this year. We cannot run the ball. We haven't been able to run the ball at any point this season.
Yeah,
that's just that.
Yep.
But let's look ahead, Mason. Let's talk bigger picture because that's all anybody's talking about right now anyway. But I'm just being realistic here. And I know I'm not going to throw any judgment on if they should or should not move on from Mike Loxley. But this is just the reality. There are probably already 8 jobs better than Maryland's on the market right now, and there might be more coming. South Carolina is probably going to move on from Shane Beamer. Michigan State's a candidate to move on from their head coach.
Clemson's a candidate to move on from their head coach.
Who you say, sorry?
Say Clemson can move on from their head coach.
Which I don't think they will, but that's another good point. There's more that still may come. Even we're not even covering the whole list yet. SMU extended Rhett Lashley. He's staying there. That was a big candidate for Oklahoma State and some other jobs for that matter. Excuse me. Matt Rule staying at Nebraska. Penn State's gonna have to go somewhere else. LSU's a mess, which is a whole other story. That's another huge job open. Like there's already not enough good candidates to fill the jobs that are open. We are going to be like 10th in the pecking order. And on top of that, Mason, I don't even know who you get right now. There's no one I'm trying to find a better way to put this. I don't think, as it stands right now, we're an attractive offering.
Yeah,
We
I disagree with that.
Okay, and that's fair. But to finish my thought here, I think given the market, given the whole situation with what college sports is at, and given Maryland's own precariousness in this whole thing, I don't know where we really sit in terms of if the Big Ten decide, looking further down the line here, which no one really is, and I'm going way off topic, but if we get to this Super League kind of thing that seems like things are heading towards, and the Big Ten and SEC and maybe a few other schools end up consolidating into like a 40-team super conference. I don't know if we're in that mix, and I don't know how much coaches are looking ahead that far, but all this to say, I just don't. This goes back to my own Maryland perception. I don't see this as an attractive offering when with just where we're at right now.
Yeah, and look, the biggest issue I have with what you just said is, you know how you get in the 40-team mix? You win right now. Like Indiana, they wouldn't have been in the 40-team mix. You're going to think they're in the Super League without them now?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, we have a lot of positives going if we can just be respectable to why we would fit into that picture. Um,
But okay, so this is my other thing here. We have been respectable, and people are still pissed.
well, we're not right now.
No, we're not right now, but we were
And
until yesterday. And I think yesterday was a bit of a, at least within the fan base, a bit of a hens coming home to roost moment. But that's where I sit. I think it's where you sit too. There's not enough good candidates.
yeah, I mean, where I sit right now, and I'll be very clear on this, is, and it doesn't make for good sports talk, podcast, radio, etc., is I don't really have many indications that things are going to be changing. Put it that way. Talk to a lot of people. I don't see that happening. I just don't. If we lose out, different scenario. What a lot of people have said that are in the know. I'm focused on winning next week. Like that is the only thing that I really care to talk about at this point. I mean, for years we've been talking about this coaching situation. I don't. It's not that I don't care. It's kind of like where I was. Fire the guy, don't fire the guy. I like the players that are on this team. I like a lot of the young guys that are on this team. I'm not saying we're going to win a championship with them or be, frankly, any better than an 8-win team at best. I don't know. That's yet to be seen, possibly never seen. No idea. I am focused on, if this is to continue, we need to win next week. We need to find a way to win Illinois, Michigan, or Michigan State, and we need to all suck it up and move on to next year. I don't mean suck it up like you can't be, like, I'm not one of those people like you can't talk out against the coach. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about for these guys, for the coverage of this team, for everything that I want to see out of them. There is five guaranteed, like, again, there's 5 opportunities left, or 4, is it 4 or 5? There's 4 opportunities left this season to, like, go out and play our best, and we still have a big name program that we can come in and beat, which I think would be, honestly, speaking from just, like, in general, like, college football sicko that I am, would be hilarious if we, like, managed to lose next week, lose the next week, beat Michigan, and lose to Michigan State. Like, that would be the most Maryland thing ever. But in that mindset of, like, okay, we need to beat Rutgers. The season's not over. The program's not over. The sky's not falling. We don't have guys, entering the portal right now. We're pissed off that we're losing. We should have won games that we didn't win. That's on the coach. But to me, I'm still in the spot of, like, the season's still going on. We're a effing 500 football team right now. We're not Wisconsin. Like, if we were Wisconsin, I would be protesting with a damn sign at the game saying to fire the coach. But we're not. We have missed a abundance of opportunity in this coaching tenure that I am extremely disappointed that we have, because we really had and still have, because you always do have, that's one of the joys of sports, an opportunity to do something great. I don't think we have the greatest leader ever, but there's still football left to be played. The season's not over. Nothing, again, like I said last night, nothing about what's gone on in the past years makes me think we're going to be able to turn this around, but I'll be out there next Saturday, and I'm damn sure going to be hoping that we can turn it around.
That's very well put, Mason. And I think that, yeah, that's actually where I was going with this, is all you got to do is focus on next week at this point. That's all you can do. The season's not over. November's just starting. We're only, sounds nuts to say, 2/3 of the way through the season. Got a whole another month to go. See how we close it out. Before we wrap it up, Mason, something else I had the note to talk about here. What do you make of these sellouts?
Look, they're not sellouts. I mean, there's empty seats. Clearly, empty seats. I don't know. Like, I think the attendance, the stadium capacity number, it's not a 46,000 seat stadium. Like, is there something structurally wrong with the last 20 rows of the upper deck everywhere, whatever that amount of seats amount to? Because they don't stop people from sitting there when they want to. Like, I don't get the attendance, like the seat number drop. I mean, maybe they're going to take the seats out, which I wouldn't mind. I don't know. I don't understand it. Maybe there's a deal. Like, I know that you know ticketing, and so do I to an extent. Like, if you there's sometimes buy prices from your ticket partner, that they'll take all your seats that you don't want when it's close, like within a certain number of a sellout, and they'll try and like put them on the resale market. Um, Bottom line to me is, sellouts or not, we're getting a lot of people in the stadium that are Maryland fans. Like, yesterday, by no means was a stadium takeover. There maybe were 5,000 Indiana fans there.
I think it was more than that, but yeah, at the very most, there were 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of these games, Jordan, from the field and from up close. And when there's a contingent of road fans, there's a contingent of road fans. There were a shit ton of Nebraska fans in that stadium. There were not nearly as many Indiana fans as there were Nebraska fans. There were about Indiana had about as many fans in CQ yesterday as Washington did. And that's just, again, like, I hate the stadium takeover. So those of you that think I'm biased to that, I'm not. That just, it wasn't a stadium takeover. It wasn't what I expected. I expected I know a ton of Indiana fans in this area. I don't really think that many of them were at the game yesterday. It's just not a football school. I don't know. Like, they're winning a lot right now. It's great when they're playing at home. They get a lot of fans. They bring their, and if you think you have, like, I don't even know what it would take to be a crazy Indiana football fan. Like, that is brutal. If you're like 40, you've seen a lot of bad football. But that being said, I don't like the sellout, like, mantra. Like, I just don't like it. I don't.
Yeah, I would agree with you. As it looks like Mason's ascending to the next plane with the sun coming in through the window. Yeah, as someone Mason has alluded to, as someone who worked in the external area at a Division I institution before, I'm always in favor of drop the sellout tag after the game is over. Because if you announce it before, and this goes to what I think is happening here, and I'm speculating. This is all speculation. No one clipped this with the thought that it's the truth. It's a possibility. But what I suspect is happening is, because I do believe if you're announcing the sellout before the game, the tickets are sold. But as Mason alluded to, it's possible, and I don't want to call this dumping, because it's not really what's happening, but it's possible these tickets are being offloaded to third-party sellers with some prior agreement in place. There are, as Mason said, when you sign these deals with SeatGeek or Ticketmaster or StubHub or whatever's going on, there are agreements in place that you allocate a certain amount of tickets to the third-party resellers, and it is possible that Maryland's allocating more than they probably needed to before the season started, And that is why these games are selling out. They are sold out at the box office, but regardless, it's never a great look when it has a sellout tag on it and there's empty seats to the degree that we're seeing. And I'm not saying these are bad crowds. I also want to clarify that. We are probably seeing Mason 45-ish thousand people scanning in what I still think is about 52,000 seat stadium. And it's just unfortunate that the areas that we see on TV have empty chunks in them because it makes you look like you're BSing. Again, I don't think it's actually happening.
I don't think that was true necessarily yesterday. The lower bowl was packed. The 200 level's packed. It's the upper deck.
Well, from where I was sitting, I could see some chunks, but whatever the case, a good crowd, bad performance. We will talk about Rutgers in the midweek show. We'll also talk about the basketball season opener, which for the men's team is tomorrow in Baltimore. Mason, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to leave it with this. A coach, really anything, is dictated by the number of W's and L's that end up at the bottom of it. You know, you don't get promoted when you're in sales for almost selling deals. You don't get raises in coaching for almost winning games. We got a lot of almost right now, and that's ultimately what we're defined by and where we haven't succeeded. And you can choose to kind of spin that if you're like, Mike Loxley or you're a Loxley stan or whatever. But we could really use some W's here in the next 4. I think we got an opportunity for one next week. Jordan, I'm going to leave your kind of like sellout conversation for. I don't like the sellout thing because I feel like it deters people from coming to the game that might come to the game like, oh, this game sold out. I'm a believer in that, right? And what I will say is the athletic department's done an amazing job getting Maryland fans in the seats. Well, the biggest thing that you can possibly do to get return customers, we talked about this after Washington, is you got to effing win the games. You don't get that many swings at the bat. Clearly, we can get people in the stadium. The product on the field's got to meet the moment. Joe and his team are doing a great job promoting this. I see more ads for it. I see the social media ads for it. People say they're seeing the radio ads for it. There are Maryland Terpsville ads everywhere. They're doing the things that we've all asked them to do to get people in the stadium. We got to win the games.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is it. We will see you guys on the midweek. As Mason always says, make sure to subscribe and give us a like where you can. And we will talk some basketball and our upcoming trip to Rutgers on Wednesday. Until then, stay safe and go Terps.